Hello everybody, welcome back to YellowCard Vanguard. We're here continuing off our Spike Brothers profiles along with Living Proof who's joined us.
What's up, everybody? Thank you, Ben, for having me back for a second video. It was fun talking about personally my favorite version of Spikes, which is the aggro variant. But I'm excited to talk about this one as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think this is actually like, in my opinion, the much more intricate deck that we built. So as everyone knows, when you say Spikes in Premium, Hellhard 8 is like the go-to, right? Everyone thinks about Hellhard 8. So we saw that there was potential for Zazan to make Hellhard 8 even faster because you flip an extra G, you can first ride the Hellhard 8 if you have your G guards. So we had a lot of back and forth talking about like various options and how to like adjust the ratios to account for it, and this is what we've settled on. Rather than talking about the exact list and listing off four of this, four of that, I want to talk more about like specific choices and why we're playing this, why we're playing that, and some of the interactions. So the first thing that people will note is obviously you've got the core Hellhard combo itself, which is Detonate Barrel and Ted. So the two of those put together during the Hellhard 8 turn gives you 10 extra attacks just by having the one Detonate Barrel in play. Because you Detonate Barrel, who then goes into Soul because of Hellhard, fetches out a Ted, who then puts you barrel into a barrel, the second barrel Soul Blasts the first barrel, then the second barrel will go into Soul and put out a Ted, who will then put the first barrel back into your deck. So each Ted lets you reuse the barrel, which then gives you another draw, which then gives you more Hellhard 8 attacks. So that was the core combo we had in mind. And based off of this, we felt that that was strong enough that you could give up like the other pieces, like you didn't need Spike Bouncer anymore, you didn't need Gyro Slinger anymore, because as long as you hit your Zazans, then you could get into Hellhard 8, and then Hellhard 8 with the barrel combo should be enough to take them out. So the other main combo we have is the Dudley Monty instead of any other vanilla, and that's pretty much because of Jelly Beans. So Jelly Beans has been, I almost want to say, the MVP of Hellhard decks for the longest time because he let you search for your heals, which let you get to your GB8. But now the fact that he can search for your grade 2 vanilla, which you can then use for Zazan, I think has given him a whole new angle.
Yeah, it's impressive to see the journey that Jelly Beans has been on since what was that, like BT 11 or no, Extra Booster with Dudley Emperor and all those cards.
Yeah.
Because at first it was like very terrible. There were like hardly any good Dudleys to grab, and then over time he kind of just bided his time and waited, and now he's MVP of a top performing deck, or historically a top performing Spike deck. So it's been very impressive to see that. Who knew that Bushro was going to release a Dudley heal trigger all those years ago and just put the deck on his back? So it was
Yeah.
impressive to see.
Yeah, it's really interesting as well because up until Zazan got released, like we've seen Hellhard 8 lists topping here and there, and every now and again we would see a Hellhard 8 list with one Dudley Monty because it's a fetchable grade 2 ride, which helps you with your consistency. And so here we've just seen like you said, it just keeps going. Like every time you think he's done, nope, here's another thing. He just keeps coming back, which is really awesome.
And I was bringing the rest of the troop with them.
Yeah,
Now, instead of one Monty, you play four because you have the Zazan element wrinkle thrown into the mix, and all of a sudden Monty is much better than being a one of tech option. Maybe I can ride you if I see you, if I need it, type of thing, to being a central piece of your early game,
yeah,
which has never been the case before. It's very fascinating to see things develop over the course of time.
yeah, for sure. Now, so a few choices that people might be unsure about in this list is the 2 of OG Mecha Trainer. Now, I put this in after a while because I realized that in testing, people just are just gonna rush you now. Like, it's the age of Zazan, it's the age of vanilla beats. Like, people aren't afraid of damage denying Hellhard 8 anymore because it's very likely you might even die before you get to GB8. So
Mhm.
the Mecha Trainers were put in there to abuse the counterblast that people are giving you. And the really interesting thing is that there was a rule change a while ago, or not a rule change, but it was ruled in JP that orders without a clan are considered to be Cray Elementals, which means that if you're getting a lot of damage given to you in the early game, you can actually Mecha Trainer for a Tempest Sphere and still go off, and it just gives you even more ways of getting there, which I think is incredible.
A Temposphere is kind of a way to level the playing field of Zazan decks, in my opinion. In that, if you have the Zazan, or if you both have a Zazan, then you having your Temposphere can help you accelerate more and kind of help even things up to help you kind of hold the line, as opposed to just outright dying to the fact that your opponent got their Zazan off before you did, type of situation.
Yeah,
So it's very nice to see Mecha Trainer also get a new lease on life with order cards that don't specify a clan to just be able to grab them up and start using them soon thereafter.
Yeah, exactly. And another really interesting is, if you're playing in a best of three format, and for example, maybe that they're playing as OTT where you need the PGs or you're going to die to Calico, then you can always just start with the old Mecha Trainer, ditch you don't need the soul for turn one Zazan because you need to survive turn one, and just search for the PG and just pray.
Yep, especially because if they're a little bit late on their combo and they give you the damage, or who knows, the threat of Mecha Trainer might make them not give you a damage, which may give you a little more time to find your own PGs naturally. So it's kind of like just a mind screw with your opponent, just to give you just a little bit more time. And every every damage and every turn counts in premium because of how fast it could be with the new Zazan engine in most decks.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that I kind of dislike about this list, which is that because we're playing a very low number of vanillas compared to most other Zazan lists, and even then, a lot of because we're playing these vanillas and we're playing the detonate barrel TED engine, where there's not a lot of room to abuse the fact that you get early GB in this deck. Your turn two isn't anything special. It's just ride to grade 2 and then survive to grade 3. There's no abuse here because we're just trying to get to the Hellhard 8. And I think that's where the deck maybe can suffer a little bit, where if the game hasn't gone to a point where you can reasonably live to Hellhard 8, then you're struggling. But then that's why we've played things like the grade 1 Elemental, because it's got the biggest shield value. It's why we're still playing PGs rather than just 12 vanilla draws for the Zazan consistency, because you need that extra shield power. And that's why we put the Tempest Spheres in, because the Tempest Sphere can dig for that 15k shield Elemental grade 1. So it's all about surviving that early rush and then hoping that you can just Hellhard 8 them back.
Yeah, that's the downside of trying to play combo in an aggressive format, in that if your opponent isn't afraid of what you can do if they give you time, then the time may not be there for you to make it to your combo. So you kind of are relying on your draw triggers to pop up as damage, and hopefully that's enough to find you a piece or two to help you survive. And all of it is just it's like a ticking time bomb to Hellhard 8. Like, what's going to go off first? Your opponent dealing you to 6, or are you going to be able to hold the line and make it to Hellhard and then pop off from there? So it's exciting, but it's also scary to be a combo deck in the current shape of premium.
Yeah. Now there's a few other interactions I want to talk about here. So the first one is the other reason that we're not playing such a heavy lineup of grade 2 vanillas is because as you rightly pointed out, if you flipped Cyclones and you strike to Hellhard 8, Hellhard 8 will give your rearguards an auto ability, so even your vanillas won't get boosted by Cyclone anymore. So we're not really relying on the beatdown option anymore. It's kind of like we're putting all the eggs in the Hellhard 8 basket, which, depending on how fast your meta is, it may or may not be a good thing. It is something to keep in mind. But at the same time, we still have the 2 Agrius, because if you do flip Cyclones and you're not on GB8, then you can use Agrius and reset your 10k Dudley Monties, who end up being 20k because you're flipping Cyclones. And you can even clutch the games through the aggro route there, even though that's not what the deck is designed for.
And to back up a small second for people that may not know, Cyclone only gives the boost to your units that don't have Act Auto or Continuous. And Hellhard, when it's on your Vanguard circle, grants your rear guards the red text ability of, after it battles, goes into the soul to search out another card. Well, of course, put a card from your hand to the soul and all that jazz. But since it grants a red text ability, it supersedes Cyclone. So if you give it to a vanilla, the vanilla's going to lose the Cyclone power buff in favor of the Hellhard additional skill. So your 10Ks become 20K through Hellhard, but they can't then become 30k because you have 2 Cyclones face up in your G zone. So that's something to keep in mind. And I didn't know that until recently, so I definitely want to make sure Ben knew it.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to give the wrong information during the video.
Yeah, for sure. It's not a deal breaker. It just means that you now live and die by your force marker.
Right. And only having 4 force vanguards can be a little scary in that same regard. And that's another thing about relying on your draw triggers to try to help you find pieces, because you might be able to find the bad end, and you also might be able to find survivability at the same time.
Yeah.
So a lot of it just kind of falls onto your draw triggers trying to come up clutch for you.
Yeah. So actually, speaking of bad end here, I want to mention we thought about playing good hand like for a little bit because you have that ability to get the double force marker when you do the double ride play, which is a lot easier now because you have Zazan spamming and filling your board, so you won't have as much empty circles. But I think we ended up cutting it because it kind of just didn't do enough, right?
It kind of wouldn't do enough. There might be space for it, but the issue falls in that a big thing for you to do in context of Hellhard is being able to ride bad end over a bad end before you go into your Hellhard turn, because it gives you a free body to work with. So that way you don't have to worry about calling a card out of your hand while generating a second force marker. If you go into the good end combo, you really won't be able to end the game because probably didn't put forth enough aggression to be able to end the game on a good end turn. So you're kind of just getting grade 3s out of your deck and loading up for the force markers then. But then you may not be able to load up on the body later on. So kind of, I think I lost train of thought there. Let me back up real quick.
Yeah.
I do think there's credence to using good end with the Zazan combo. The downside is that you might be wanting to have your bad ends in your deck for being able to ride naturally to get a free body for your Hellhard 8 turn, which you lose the ability to do so if you just nuke them all out of your deck for a good end turn.
Mm-hmm.
So on the plus side, you get the extra force markers early on, but on the bad side is that worst comes to worst, you don't have the emergency ride plus body to get from your bad end dragger. So it all kind of comes down to what you want to get out of it, but your G-zone space is kind of tight because you need to make space for the Cyclones, you need to make space for Agrius because it has better aggro potential than Good Hand does, and you need to also make sure you have your Hellhard, of course. And then when it comes to Violence Ace, there is credence there to playing a couple of Violence Aces because of how heavy it digs for you.
Especially when you combine it with Cyclone.
Exactly, because Cyclone is face up from Zazan, so if you first stride into Violence Ace, you might already have 1 or 2 Cyclones face up to be able to dig you 2 or 3 cards, which never could have been done before. And then you definitely still need to play 7 G guards because if worse comes to worse, you may only have 1 Cray or 1 face up card in your G zone after everything is all said and done. It's like, say worse comes to worse, you go into Cyclone. You go use 1 Zazan, so you have 1 face up in your G zone, and then you ride first to grade 3. Now, if your hand is full of heal triggers in your hand, if you don't have 7 G guards in your G zone, you can't then go first stride Hellhard. You have to wait an additional turn after you've already blown all your G guards to protect yourself. So that's why you need to have 7 G guards in your G zone. So space is kind of tight to make space for a good end dragger, even though there is some credence there to probably want to use it.
Yeah. I think the other thing as well is that, from my own playtesting at least, especially if you're against something like OTT, which has where they can now first stride Ichikashima to turn off all your G guards, I think playing this deck is definitely a risk compared to like the vanilla aggro build.
I agree there.
Yeah. So, I also prefer just the vanilla build where you just like close your eyes and turn cards sideways. But I think, I kind of want like to show off this list as well as a sort of, here's how non-aggro decks can adapt to the Zazan meta.
Yeah, it's a little more nuanced, so it's definitely a fun look into the other side of premium, which is the non-beat your face and melt it down.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of it. So what we're going to do now is, unfortunately Proof won't be joining me for this bit, but I'm just going to run you through like the basic Hellhard 8 combo, and I'll take you through the line-by-line play of how the barrel loop works and how you can jelly beans for your vanillas and stuff like that. So that'll be there just after this, and then I'll show you the full list on the screen at the end. But yeah, other than that, thanks for joining us. Thanks for building this list with me, and hopefully we'll see you around a lot more.
Yeah, as long as you want me around, I'll definitely come back around, and it was fun. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks for being on here. So for those of you who don't know who he is, Living Proof is kind of the de facto Spikes player in the Cardfight Vanguard community. I'll drop a link to all the socials in the description. Check out this guy, give him some love. He's been doing some great stuff ever since he started. And that's pretty much it. So let's get on to the combo. So the first thing we're going to show off here is the fact that you can use jelly beans to find your vanilla Dudley. So here we're going first. It's just hit our second turn. We didn't open the Zazan, but we've drawn it for turn 2. And as you can see, we've only got 2 vanillas in the hand, but one of them is the grade 2 that we have to ride for the turn. Well, that's fine, because before we call the Zazan, we can use the Jelly Beans effect to go find the Dudley Monty to hand. And then when we call the Zazan, we can Soul Blast 1, call these two, draw 2 cards, and flip the Cyclone. Now we just draw into the Tempest Sphere here, which is just pure chance, but it means that we can keep going. So we can play the Tempest Sphere, just grab the first 2 vanillas we see, it's not a big deal, and flip another Cyclone. And now we've already put forward a really strong attack, just from being able to more consistently hit the Zazans, despite running a lower ratio of vanillas as per normal, because Dudley Jelly Beans acts as a second vanilla, which is great. And as you can see, we've got heals, and we've got PGs, and we've got the grade 3 in hand, so we're still set up for the Hellhard 8 combo. So let's just play this out a little bit more. I'll just like test a hand, and then I'll show you what happens when we get into the Hellhard 8 turn. So I've simulated and solitaired an example game for a little bit, so you can see we've been rushed up to 5 damage, and we've still had to guard quite a bit just to survive, but we've been able to double G-guard because we were able to use Jelly Beans the previous turn, and we flipped another Cyclone with Tempest Sphere. But despite that, you see that our hand is quite small, it's only 6 cards, because we've had to guard a little bit, we've lost our Intercept as well. I pushed the Zazan into the Soul for the effect of the Linus to get some extra shield value. So, you know, it's not a completely easy game, we've had to play it a little bit, which is why the hand is so small. You know, when you think of a Hellhard 8 turn, you think of like 10 or 12 cards in this massive long combo. But here we're just going to play a little bit like more pushed down, so with less cards in hand. But you can see that with the Detonate Barrel loop, we're still able to get some really strong attacks in. And because we were aggroing early with the Cyclone, it means that even though these attacks are slightly smaller and a little bit less powerful, there's still enough of them that we should be able to close out the game even with just 6 cards in hand. So I'm not going to rewrite just to show you, you know, we need all the cards in hand, and just show you exactly what you can do with just 1 force marker. So we're just going to play the rest of the time from here, and I'll show you exactly how the Detonate Barrel loop works. So we're going to stride into Hellhard 8, and we'll then just start attacking straight away with our rearguard. So we've got Hellhard 8, who's going to give all our rearguards 10k, and we've got the force marker, so they're all hitting for at least 25. So this draw trick is actually going to be the weakest attack in the deck, which is just 25. At the end of the battle, it goes into Soul, and we put a card from hand to Soul, and we deck search for Detonate Barrel. So Detonate Barrel attack, he'll become 30k because of Hellhard and the force marker. At the end of his battle, he goes into Soul, card from hand into Soul, and we search a second Detonate Barrel. Now the thing here is, because we just push one to Soul, when this one attacks, we'll be able to use this skill to Soul Blast the Detonate Barrel we just put in, and this one will gain an extra 10k, and more importantly, we draw a card. This will help recoup the cost of the one that we just used. So you can see that when this one finishes, we can do the same thing again. Into Soul, deck search for another barrel. So this way we can go through every single barrel in the deck, and they will pay for themselves with this draw a card effect. So we'll attack with this one as well. Soul Blast, and draw. And then he'll go in, this will go in, searching for the last barrel in the deck. So attack, Soul Blast, and draw. And then end of battle, card from hand to Soul, he'll go in. And this time we're going to search for Big Blow Ted. And Ted, when he's placed, we can put a grade 2 or greater card from the drop zone on the bottom of the deck, and he gets an extra 10k. We're going to put back this barrel that we just searched, that we just Soul Blasted. So now Ted is 18 on his own, plus 20 from the force marker and Hellhard 8, so he's going to be 38, which is just 2k short of what the barrel was saying for 40, which is still pretty big. So when Ted attacks, at the end of his battle, he's going to go into Soul, and Soul from hand, and we're going to search for that barrel that we just put in. Who will, when he attacks, we can Soul Blast that barrel in the Soul to draw a card, and then at the end of the battle, he goes into Soul, another card from hand. And then because we just used the last barrel in the deck, we then search another Ted to put the barrel back, and then do it one more time. So that's one more, into Soul, hand to Soul, out comes barrel, who will attack, Soul Blast this barrel, draw. And then at the end of his battle, he'll go in, card from hand will go in. And obviously we ran out of Teds and Detonates in the deck, but you can still see that with just 2 Teds in the deck, because one of them was in damage, we still had more than 6 attacks off of a 6-card hand. And then you have to encounter as well, let's just call this off the top. We then have our Vanguard swing, which is going to give us 3 drive checks. Oops, well, draw trigger, so that's fine. So now we have 5 cards in hand, which is another 5 attacks on top of this rear guard. So this just goes to show you that, you're not giving up any of the strength of Hellhard to be able to play the vanilla engine. And if anything else, the vanilla engine makes your Hellhard turn faster, and it also gives you the opportunity to deal damage to them, that way you don't lose to defensive triggers. So that's been the showcase for Hellhard 8 Zazan combo. Once again, thank you to Living Proof for joining us on this one. All his details will be in the description below. Check out his channel. And, if you're interested in any more premium content like this or TCG Vanguard, feel free to follow us, give us a subscribe, check us out on Twitter and Facebook, keep up to date with what we're doing, and hopefully we'll be able to make a lot more videos for you soon, provided Zazan gets banned. I've been Zistral, and that's it from me. Thanks for watching YellowCard Vanguard, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.